more about these tariffs, Professor Steven Durlauf, who is the director of the Stone Center for Research on Wealth, Inequality, and Mobility. Professor, thanks so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me.
How quickly could everyday Americans actually feel the effects of these tariffs, realistically?
Well, it is likely they will begin to feel the effects shortly after April 9th when they're implemented. Let me also add that Americans have already felt it if you look at the stock market. And so during Trump's speech, the stock market lost $1.5 trillion in value. It's lost $4 trillion since its peak about 4 weeks ago. And so in terms of wealth, there's an immediate effect. One would then expect prices for the commodities that are most directly affected to begin to rise shortly after April 9th. And then there will be the consequences for employment in the United States, which are negative. And so the best estimates, and really a consensus estimates of the effects of the tariffs, is there will be both inflation and lower economic growth.
And that's what I meant. You know, markets are one thing, of course, but I meant when I said everyday Americans, you know, will they, when do you think they would, let's say, go to the store or go to buy some big ticket item and say, whoa, a sticker shock type of thing, you think in a matter of weeks?
Yes, and so I think that'll occur over the month of April.
Okay. Now, devil's advocate here, the White House says the goal with these tariffs is to bring wealth and jobs, manufacturing, et cetera, back to the U.S. You heard the president say this is our declaration of economic independence. Could it work, though? And if so, how long might it take?
Well, I don't think it can work. The justifications that have been given are inconsistent with the consensus understanding of how economies work. And what I mean by that is that tariffs really should be understood as regressive taxes. They're taxes on consumption and taxes on the purchasing of things. And so as the question with respect to prices is whether or not businesses, firms are going to raise their prices in response to the tariffs or not, or whether or not they're going to lower their prices, which would keep the prices the same. The best evidence is that the incident of tariffs is substantially high. This is what happened under the Trump administration's first term. When they raised tariffs, prices went up for consumers. The second thing to say is that, again, looking both at history, the cases where the United States implemented tariffs such as Smoot-Hawley during the Depression, the overwhelming empirical evidence is that tariffs have negative effects on employment and negative effects on economic growth.
And let's just say, again, devil's advocate, though, could we see in 5 years, you know, hundreds of more plants, because it takes time to build, whether it's to manufacture cars or other goods here in the U.S., because companies will say, okay, well, if this is sticking around, I bet we better start building, or do you think that's just unrealistic?
I think it is illusory to think that many of the types of businesses that migrated from the United States over the last couple of decades are going to return. It is, you know, there's irreversibilities. There's in the process by which globalization that occurred, and again, the best guesses, and I don't want to talk about this as physical law, is that the economy is going to have a contraction, and do keep in mind that this is simply the beginning of a process. There's going to be retaliation by other countries, and there's going to be a general loss of confidence in the United States.
Well, that's already happening. Yeah, that's already happening. Speaking of that, let's say these tariffs stick around for more than a few weeks or months. How might it change long-term the U.S.'s relationship with other countries? I mean, it will have more, I would imagine, than just an economic impact.
That's an extremely important point, and that is that this is very damaging to America's standing in the world, the strength of its alliances, the ability of countries to depend on the United States. So you just give one example. There were astronomical tariffs being applied to Syria, and as you know, there was a regime change there, and causing damage to that economy is clearly not in American foreign policy interests. To give a different example, Europeans, various countries in Europe are now thinking about changing their defense procurements to move away from the United States to use European defense equipment. So that exacerbates the tariffs, or the deficits, of course, but it's also illustrative that these types of actions, when taken against one's long-standing friends and allies, represent a breaking of the international order.
so much to unpack and talk about, and I know we will continue to do so. In the meantime, Professor Steven Durlauf, University of Chicago, thanks so much for your insight. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
We'll be right back, everyone.